Everyone, welcome back to the next video. In this video I will show you how to use index database, IndexedDB, which is a database present inside your browser, which is used to store large amount of data, like gigabytes of data. So yeah, let's get started. The advantage of using IndexedDB is that it stores large amount of data, like gigabytes of data, and also it is asynchronous, so it does not block your JavaScript or your web application. So first, here you can see I am inside Chrome, and inside the application tab I have this IndexedDB clicked, and currently I haven't created any database. So firstly I will click on this OpenDB, and as soon as I do that, here you can see it creates my database. Also it creates, I want this my user store. I have named the table as my user store, but yeah, you can name it whatever you like. And I will create first user. So I have created one user. I'll quickly refresh this, refresh, and if I go to my user store, here you can see I have created this particular user. Now I will create a second user. I'll click on create second user. Again I'll have to refresh this. Okay, so if I click on create second user, it won't create the second user for me. The reason is that as soon as I create my first user, I'm immediately closing my database connection. So if I want to create my second user, I will again have to click on OpenDB. So it will open the database connection for me, but it won't create the database as well as the table again, because that has already been created. So if I click on create second user now, it should be able to create it. So I'll just quickly refresh this, and if I go here, you can see it is able to create my second user as well. Now again I will have to click on OpenDB. I will tell you a solution, like you don't have to click on OpenDB again and again. If you don't close the transaction after every operation is complete, then you don't have to open the database again and again. So again I'm closing the transaction after every operation, like any CRUD operation, because it is a good practice. Otherwise you would be leaking memory all over the place. So again I'll click on OpenDB, and if I click on get users, here you can see I'm able to fetch all the users which I want. Now again I will click on OpenDB. I want to get a specific user, so I'm getting a specific user by its ID. So I'm getting the first user. Okay, again I'll click on OpenDB. Now I want to update a user. So if I just click on update user, I think I am updating the first user, I guess. So I'll quickly click on refresh, and here you can see the username has been updated to someone. Previously it was nobody. Now again I will click on OpenDB. I'll delete a user, and here again I'll refresh my database, and here you can see I only see the second user. So yeah, that's what this is. Also you can store any kind of data inside the value, like a string, integer, JSON object, or JSON array, and you don't have to JSON stringify it or convert it to anything. Even while getting it, whatever data type you have used while storing it, you will get it in that data type, so you don't have to worry about it. So let's see how to do this. So first, inside my index.html, I have created few buttons, one for OpenDB, one for creating a first user, one for creating a second user, one for getting all the user, one for getting a user by its ID. Now I was trying this also, get user by last name. I couldn't really figure it out, but anyways I'll show you the code again. That code is wrong, but yeah, you can improve that code and let me know what mistake I made. This is for update user, and this is for delete user. Okay, now if I go to my TypeScript or JavaScript file, here I have created one variable called is success. First it is false. I'm updating this variable depending on whether the database has been properly opened or not. And inside OpenDB, as you can see, once you click on OpenDB, we are first opening our database. So if the database is not present inside our IndexedDB, if it is for the very first time, it will create a database with this MyDB name for you. And on upgrade needed, like basically if you want to create tables, so this will only fire if there are any changes inside your database. Like suppose tomorrow I want to add one more table, so here you can just create db.create object store, give your table name, give some key path. So key path is basically, I think it is like a primary key. So if you also see over here, it is the key path ID 2, and whatever ID I have entered, that gets assigned over here. So I think it is basically a primary key. And here you can see once the DB has been successfully opened, I am assigning is success to true, and if it is any error, then I am just console logging in the error. Now for creating the first user, I am first checking if success is equal to true and this open DB is not equal to null, so that it has been properly assigned over here. And then we can just do open db.result, get our database. Then this like there are a lot of boilerplate code which you have to write, like so this first we have to get the database, then we have to do db.transaction, pass your user table, and what kind of operation I want to do. I want to do a read write operation, right, because I'm writing data to our database. And here I can do transaction.object store and again pass whatever is your table name. And then to add create a user, you can just do store.put, and here you can add whatever you feel like, but I think you will have to add ID because you have given the key path as ID. Okay, so yeah, again sorry, you don't need to have add ID over here. I think this is maintained in even I'm not really sure, sorry about that, but I don't think you need to add ID over here because you can pass a string value as well if you want to. So yeah, but you can this, like I think this ID is basically like if I want to fetch the ID 1, suppose for the first user, even if I have named this as ID 2, for IndexedDB this ID 1 equal to, it will be this one, right? So I think for that purpose it is used. So yeah, so this is how you add a user to your IndexedDB. And as soon as this operation is complete, so here you get a callback. I'm closing our database. Now suppose you don't want to use this OpenDB again and again, you can just open it once and you can just comment this code out, transaction.onCall. Like you can do something like whenever a user moves away from this particular page, then only close my database, otherwise keep it open. But yeah, I think it's better to close the database as soon as a particular transaction is done. Now this will vary from application to application, so you can be a better judge for yourself on when you want to close the database. Similarly, for creating a second user, I have done the same thing. First get database, then from that use transaction, then create an object store and add some data inside your database. Here you can see I have also added the last name, so it's not necessary you have to follow one particular pattern, it can be anything. And on complete, I'm just closing our database. And this what I was doing for get user by last name, but unfortunately I couldn't get it working. So in case if you know, do let me know in the comments what I'm doing wrong. Then for getting users, like getting the list of all users, firstly again I'm checking if is success and OpenDB is not equal to null, and then we are opening our same, getting our database, getting transaction, getting our object store, and then you can just do store.getAll. Here you will get all the results. If it is success, then only I can I'm doing a json.stringify result.result. Now this json.stringify I have only done because I want to display this inside our inner.html. Otherwise you don't have to do stringify, you will get proper, like I had entered JSON data right while creating a user, so you will get JSON data while fetching it as well. So you don't have to do json.parse. This stringify I have only done because I want to display this inside inner HTML. And you can add an on error as well, in case if there is any error you can print it. And once transaction is complete, I am closing our database again. Similarly, for getting our user, again I am checking if it's success and open database, OpenDB, then we get our database, get our transaction, get our object store, and then we just get the first result, like the first ID. So if you remember, this refer to this, okay? So whatever would be the first one, don't refer to this ID is completely different. I am talking about this ID. So whatever is the first ID, I want to get that. So here the ID is 2. So suppose I will just open this database, and if I do on get specific user, I won't get anything, undefined, as you can see, because there is no ID 1, it starts from ID 2, okay? And again ignore this ID won't get called. So I think that's the mistake which I was making while getting a user by its last name, because I was not able to find the last name, because inside the key I'm giving it as id. So I think we can only get user by its id, like this id, not this id. Okay, so similarly for again, that once transaction is complete, I am closing our database. If you want, you can just add a failure as well, on error as well. So I'll just quickly add that as well. Next, for updating is very similar to creating a user, so you don't have to worry too much about it. So again, we get our database, get the transaction, get the object store, and here I'm just doing the same thing, store.put id colon 1 username as well as the age. So if you see, while creating as well, I'm using the same thing, store.put. So that's how I can update it. Now the next thing, okay, so here also again I am closing our database, and inside delete user I'm doing the same thing. So I'm just calling delete one. So whatever is the key id or key path equal to 1, that user would be getting deleted. And so once transaction is complete, I'm just closing that particular transaction. Big thing, I have made a mistake inside update user. So you should not use to the put method which we were using for creating a user, that won't update a user, because it won't know which user to update. So it will just create a new user. To update a user, what you will have to do is, so first again, get your database, get the transaction, get the object store, and suppose I want to update the first user, like whoever key or key path id is equal to 1, again not this id, this id. Okay, and once I get that particular user, I can just get that particular user, and here I can update user.username to Batman. Okay, so if I just, now it is Superman. So if I just click on open database and update the user, I will refresh my database again. I go back, and here you can see it is Batman. So sorry about that. This is the logic for updating the user. So yeah, I think that's it. Similar, I think for getting a user by last name, you can use a similar logic. So first, I think you will have to get all the users, according to me, get all the users. Then you can do a for each loop, then find out whose result dot last name, or what was it, what we were using, result dot last name is equal to some name. And if you are able to find that particular user, then you can do user dot last name equal to whatever, and store dot put that particular user. So yeah, I think that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye.